Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. The three amigos are back together. How you guys doing? How you doing, Matt?
Doing awesome. Just waiting for the stream.
Yeah, exactly. And Dion, how are you?
Howdy. I'm super excited to be here. I'm ready for you to bring us the topics that we have not discussed in advance today.
No, usually we give you a little color like, hey, I'm gonna hit this, hit this, hit this. This time we're not. So as we shared, or as I shared with you guys this morning, kind of halfway through my 6-mile run, I looked at my analytics on YouTube, and 9 of the 10 videos were crash, crisis, or bubble. That irritated, that frustrated, that disappointed me on lots of levels. Because again, I don't think all three of us believe any of that is so. However, after running back, so I run out 3 miles, I rest, and the reason I do that is because I can't cheat. Once I run out, I got to come back, right? Versus doing loops in my house. So on the way back, I actually have come up with 2 parts of the real estate market, the real estate business. One that I think crashes 30% next year, and one that could crash 10, might be 20%. So I'm going to see if you guys can guess. Why don't you guess one of them, and what do you think? So again, legit crash, not fake. I think there's a part of the market goes down 30%, and then part of the market that could go down 10 or 20%. I'll go to Dion first. Let's see.
So when you say market, you mean rental properties?
No, I mean like anything. See, that's a very good question. I don't necessarily mean a market like Boise. I mean the real estate industry, everything that goes on in and around the industry. It is important. That was a very good question. No, I don't necessarily mean a market, but it could be.
So break it down into categories of large multifamily, small multifamily, single family house, long-term rental, short-term rental.
All of those.
The biggest decrease in market that I could see coming would, in my opinion, be legislation-based short-term rentals.
Okay.
I think there's too many multi-billion-dollar companies, Hyatt, whatever, fighting to survive their kind of like there is no Uber or Lyft in Colombia.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but in Colombia, there's so many taxi cabs. There's an army of taxis that would stop that from coming. Yes. There are people lobbying against short-term rentals. So I think that when people look at buying, making sure that that property would at least cash flow as a long-term rental, benefit from what you can do short-term rental before HOA, municipality, or state legislation takes that away from you. That would be my first guess for the biggest crash.
Oh, very good. Very good guess. And you're absolutely right, folks. If you're buying Airbnb and your numbers only make sense as an Airbnb, get a plan B or pay less. I think that's a great guess. How about you, Matt?
Commercial real estate, true commercial.
Okay. Yeah.
True commercial, because the debt sucks.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Debt structure is the worst, and rates are going to go up and expenses are going to go up. And yeah, I think that we get another fun round of COVID this winter. I think that, I think real commercial real estate, run, Luke, run. I mean, I'm looking to do all my shopping in the metaverse anyway. So
yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So here's where I think the 30% crash happens, and you can hold me to this, audience. And that is, I think refinances. I think refi business falls because interest rates go up. I was talking with Matt, the mortgage guy, yesterday, and 60% of the mortgages that are currently held were refied or done in the last 24 months.
Yeah.
Totally. So that there's huge ripples if you really appreciate that. Over the last 24 months, there's been a lot of cash extracted as home equity, right? Some of it was used to buy rentals. Some of it was used to improve houses. Some of it was used to pay for college. Some of that was used to party, snort drugs, whatever it is. But in essence, there's been a lot of money extracted from our homes in the last 2 years that will not be available going forward. If you are a mortgage broker, you better get on your high horse and start finding some owner-occ business, some investor business. If you are a broker with lots of employees, you are going to be smaller next year. So I firmly believe that one part of the market that will fall, and it will impact real estate. Because if somebody can't take $100,000 out, put $50,000 on a rental, which is very common, as we know, the market will slow down. So that's where I think a 30% crash is. And again, I was kind of vague in my statement, but that I feel certain that happens next year. Could the Airbnb thing happen? Yes. Could commercial fall? Yes. I think commercial is more 24 than 20 or 23 and 24. But yeah, all those are true. But I am certain that refis will fall 30%. What do you think, Dion?
So I think it's great with the three perspectives. The reason I look forward, well, I get to hang out with you guys on Thursdays, but the reason I look forward to it is we've come at this at different angles.
Yeah.
Mike, you and I actually made a bet last week of $1.
Yeah.
That I think, and on my channel today, we're going to be recording a video of how deflation is going to cause interest rates to go down next year. Mm-hmm. If I win that $1 bet, I think that lower interest rates could cause more refinances to happen.
Oh, certainly could. Oh, for sure.
It's like our squares have moved on the screen because normally I get to tell Matt, I think you're wrong. So I'm not telling you, Mike, that I think you're wrong.
I could be.
But
you put money on it. Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, exactly. You put a whole $1 on it, then I'm wrong.
Smart guy. You just don't want to tell Mike he's wrong. You bet $1 he's wrong.
That is true.
It's okay. I'm wrong. I do. Why not you? Just tell me I'm wrong. It's okay.
Right. I think if interest rates go down because of deflation, which I have a list of reasons why I think there's going to be deflation, which is going to cause rates to go down, I would refinance a few of my properties. I've come this close on 2 of them just because the rates are almost enough to justify the refinance without taking any money out.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's very, again, I've been looking forward to that video. I prepped for it. So I look forward to that discussion. But that's what I currently believe. And I really do think that if it falls, it is going to fall hard. And again, I could be wrong, right? If the 30-year mortgage goes from 3% to 2%, not only will I refi a couple, I may refi everything because that's everything, right? It's just a huge move. And if they get into the ones, everything, right? So just everything.
Like
so
everything and then pull out money.
What the heck are we going to be buying if they get into the ones?
Can you imagine what happened to real estate prices?
Do the math. Remember when we played with those numbers that day? And it was like $500,000 houses were now like $850,000. I mean,
we're actually going to bring up that spreadsheet in number 2 video today. So we will do that just for fun. Make sure we do that just because it's amazing to think about. You
and I agree. I think rates are up from here. I think they're up at least a point, if not a point and a half, which I think if that happens, I think 30% is way low.
Yeah.
I think it's 60%, 70% at that point, because if you haven't already refied, there is a reason you haven't already refied.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And there's just such a small pool. Yeah. It's just crazy. Okay. Right. So that's number one. Go ahead.
I had a friend who owned a mortgage company in 2007. He was 32 reps.
Yeah.
In the first part by the end of 08, he was 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I meant by mortgage brokers. A lot of you have been right sized for the last 2 years and you are about to lay off a lot of people. That's what I think. If it gets to 1, double your employees. That's it. So here's number 2, the one that I think could fall 10%, which I don't necessarily call a crash, but it's on an important metric, but it could fall 20%. And that is actually real estate transactions, right? We have talked about, hey, if interest rates go up, values are going to crash. We're going to talk about that in video 2, which I don't believe, but transactions stop. And I think there's a lot of great reasons for it, right? First and foremost, you're in a house today at 250, paying at 2%. Usually you would upgrade. You're not going to upgrade to 400 and then pay 4%. So there's going to be a lot more people stuck, a lot more people upgrading their homes. It's just, we've had 40 years of declining rates and people don't realize just how fast and how far transactions could stop if we do get a rise in interest rates. So number 2 for me, that will likely fall 10%. It might get to 20% if rates get high enough, is actually total transactions. So instead of doing 6 million, we might do 4.8 to 5.4. So again, what does that mean? Well, that means if you're a real estate agent and you've been living high on the hog, time to sharpen your skills, really get going. Your market has bailed you out. Stop being lazy. Because again, you'll still have 5.4 million homes be sold, but you're going to have to work for it. It's not going to be like, let's go get a listing and then sit back and watch the party happen. You're going to have to work. So I'll go the reverse order. Matt, what do you think of that?
So I think I think that's right. I think that, I think that real estate agents, inventory has flown off the shelves so quickly that if you've gotten your license in the last 2 or 3 years, you have no idea what a real housing market looks like. you have no idea that it's usually like, oh, we did an open house and we had 2 or 3 people. We're really excited.
And they were neighbors.
Right. Exactly. Like, so yeah, I think that's absolutely true. I think the other piece, so 10 to 20%. Yeah. I mean, I think you could hit that from a transaction perspective, but I think what happens if that starts to become a trend, I think that the 40-year mortgage instantly hits the market very quickly, and that will boost the market.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so difficult to predict, right? Because you're looking at like this master panel of 40 buttons, switches, and knobs and levers.
Yeah, you're right.
And you do anything and it has a reaction. And sometimes it's short term, sometimes it's long term. And so I think that's, I mean, we know there's going to be home buyer programs.
Yeah.
We know they're going to suck. And they suck from the perspective of if you're a real buyer versus not a real buyer that uses a program like that. And the reason I delineate the two is because that's going to artificially raise the price of the inventory that's even there.
Yeah, you're increasing demand and you haven't touched supply, and that just naturally means prices go up. So.
The supply will, the lack of supply will continue to be the issue. And Mike, everybody that was salivating about Zillow and the failure of Zillow, one hedge fund just wrote a check and bought 2,000 of their homes.
Yeah, it's not coming.
Hey, yeah, we'll take 2,000 of those. Yeah, we'll take $2,000. Yeah. You don't even have to put it on the market. We'll just write a check for 2,000 homes.
Yeah.
It brought them to 70,000 single family homes is how much that one hedge fund owns.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, Dan, what do you think? Transactions fall again if rates go up, obviously.
So I understand the nature of our relationship. You have a master's degree in economics. You have literally twice as many years, more experience in this industry, right? So I get that sometimes my opinions are based from a newer perspective without the experience to back it up.
Okay.
So again, I'm not saying, hey, Matt, you're wrong, but today, Matt, you're Mike. Here's the things I see that could cause transactions to go up.
Okay.
The 40-year mortgage brings price down. Buyers buy on price. First-time
payment.
buyer
Let's be clear.
programs.
Let's be clear. Not price, payment.
They buy brings payment down. So, right. So they buy on payment. Thank you for correcting me. Correct. And if you stretch it out to 40 years, payment comes down. First-time buyer programs means more money for the down payment, making it easier to buy a property as the price goes up. You had a video the other day where, and I think I sent you a screenshot and you said, yeah, go watch watch the video.
Yeah.
Criteria for first-time home buyers goes down, and something else made it easier to buy. It was like a 2006 problem happening all over again. Let's make it easier for the wrong buyers to buy property.
Yeah, you're
People
right.
who shouldn't right now be investing. There was something else too. People right now have over $1 trillion in savings and equity.
Yes.
Last year we got locked down. People's income either kept coming in because they were some of the ones who kept working, or they were making $75,000 a year on unemployment in Washington state to sit on your couch, and then extra unemployment, extended unemployment, and stimulus, and you couldn't spend it. Amazon can only deliver so much, right? So there's all this money waiting to be used. And I get, if we look at the spreadsheet from the 70s, when interest rates went up, prices went up, but transactions went down. So I get the logic of, if interest rates go up, we're going to have more refined purchases happening, that prices could continue to go up, but that would cause the transactions to go down, except for all of these other elements that are pushing for people to buy. And here's the thing that I really think is going to impact it. At the beginning of last year, Ken McElroy called out for a 40% crash in the market, and you made a $10,000 bet, which he never answered, saying that you think he's full of it. And then when he finally admits later, I'm full of it, right? Right now, we were looking off camera at people who watch our channels and the other things that they watch, and it was all crash, 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 crash. People are hoping for a crash, or we're passing the year mark of people screaming for a crash. And at some point, buyers are going to realize, I think maybe they're wrong.
Yeah, I hope so.
I've got this money to deploy. And even though prices are higher, my yield is going to be better because rents are skyrocketing. So I see 5 or 6 reasons why transactions could increase next year. Again, though, newbie.
No.
Right. So I'm not changing my investing strategy on me thinking that. I just think that I'm uneducated enough to have an actual opinion, but those are the things that I see.
No, first off, you should take a lot more ownership and credit with how you feel. Your opinions have been earned and validated. So just because I have twice as long and a more fancy degree doesn't mean anything. So we're equals. We are the three amigos. There's no hierarchy here. But again, remember what I was trying to do. I was pissed off. Crash, crisis, bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent 28 minutes or whatever it takes me to run 3 miles coming back, and I was thinking, like, if everything stays the same, and I do believe rates are going up, that's the one wrinkle in this whole thing. I think there are things that will fall. I think refinances will crash, and I'm going to call that 30. I'm going to call it 30%. So it is a crash. And again, back to that kind of spreadsheet and historical run, transactions fall a lot faster than values, right? People want values to fall, but real estate is sticky. It is slow. What will fall first is transactions, and then maybe price. And as you both have brought up, there are extra knobs and levers that the powers that be could throw into this to save whatever's going on. So absolutely. Really what I anchored on was interest rates going up. And then I didn't include all the, what happened to this buyer program and down payment assistance and all of those things. But that's it. I don't think there's a crash in values. I think one of the biggest, when you look at, it's December 31st, 2022. I think when you look nationally, we're up, as I've said in many times, 10 to 12%. I think there might be one or two metros that are down 2 or 3%, right? That is not a crash. That is not even a correction.
No,
that's an adjustment.
Exactly.
Right. So I do not see a crash coming at all next year. I struggled, but I wanted to put crash, crisis, and bubble in a title. So this is how I did it: refis and transactions. So Matt, how can people find you?
All I have to say is, if you listen to Ken McElroy last year, you owe him a bag of dog poop lit on fire. Because you just 10 grand. Missed. We tried all of ours against all of his.
Yeah, exactly.
I all of it.
I'd have signed on the dotted line, no problem.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you want more of this tomfoolery, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays, there's lots of this tomfoolery that I talked through. Yeah,
that's cool. And Dion?
I really like how you trick yourself by running out 3 miles, so you have to run back. The Marine Corps does the same thing. They're only legally allowed to run you 6 miles. So they'll run you out 6 miles and then release you for chow. So now you got to run back 6 miles.
Exactly. It's awesome.
I am doing live streams on Tuesday evenings. Dion Talk after hours. If you want to stop by, awesome. They're usually about an hour and a half long, nice and short. So I will see you next Tuesday.
And I actually heard someone say your last one was 2.5 hours.
3.5.
3.5. It
was 3.5.
Dion,
if the questions are good, I will keep going. My goal is to answer every question that comes my way.
Oh, that's so awesome. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much.